Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final TOE Way Masterclass series. I'm super excited about this particular session and final series, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed the previous Masterclasses series that we've had. And again, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Ibuko Durinde. I'm the Entrepreneurship Programs Manager at the Tony Ibuko Foundation. Joining me is Adora. Adora is the Entrepreneurship Programs Executive. Also joining us today, that we haven't seen her in a long time, is Nadia. Nadia is a TF alumni, and she will be supporting us with the Portuguese translation. Also, again, we have Foko, Able Fokorol is our mentor, is the TF mentor, is also going to be supporting with French. And then our wonderful Madam Angela Aneke, who is going to be taking the TOE Masterclass series. So I don't waste our time. As expected, we want the session to be very interactive. We want you to share your comments, just for everything you learn here, basically just relate it to your business, to your life experiences, and share. Just to make the whole session very engaging, we would like you to just drop your comments. And if you have questions as well, you can drop your questions and we'll just collate everything and we will share with Madam Angela. So I don't waste time. I'll hand over to Madam Angela. Thank you for joining us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ibukun. Thank you. And entrepreneurs, you're all welcome once again to the webinar. And this is the last in the series of 4 webinars. And I do hope that you've all been fulfilled as I have, and we've all learned from each other in the whole, over the last 2-3 weeks on the TOE way. It's always a pleasure sharing nuggets from the TOE way. And just to recap, on webinar 1, we talked about ideation, creativity, syndicating views, management by consensus, being meticulous, a strong branding focus. And then webinar 2, human capital and culture, institutionalization and governance, hard work, meeting deadlines, a sense of urgency, meetings, decisiveness, etc. And then webinar 3, precision and rigor, follow through and professionalism, foresight and the genius of and, resilience and reverse yourself if you've made the wrong decision. So today, the last in the series is webinar 4, and we're going to be learning 12 leadership lessons from TOE. So this was what one tried to do is TOE spoke to a group of senior management and executive management at UBA on leadership. And these 12 leadership lessons are what one was able to distill from that session. So they're his tips, they're his leadership lessons. Again, they're lessons, and then there's an example, which we'll share, and then we'll also share what the literature possibly says on that. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Foko and Nadia, you want to translate that before I go into the session?
Ok, bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue pour cette 4e session de série de webinaires de masterclass sur la façon de Tony. Donc, une fois de plus, on va faire des échanges. Après la première, 2e et 3e série, cette 4e série va être essentiellement portée sur 12 leçons de leadership que Tony veut bien partager avec nous. Donc, il y aura la traduction, bien évidemment, en français et en portugais, en plus de l'anglais. Comme la dernière fois, on vous encourage à mettre vos commentaires dans le commentaire YouTube et nous allons reprendre ça directement en ligne. Donc, bienvenue une fois de plus et bonne écoute pour cette dernière session de masterclass sur la série de la façon de faire de Tony. Merci. Over to you, Nadia.
Thank you, Foko.
Boa tarde a todos, bem-vindos a mais uma sessão da Masterclass da TOA Way, ou seja, as lições do nosso patrono, o Sr. Tony Elumelu. Como sempre, este encontro tem a Ibukun como a gerente do programa que vocês conhecem, a Daora, que é a pessoa que responde aos vossos e-mails, a senhora Angela, que é a senhora que tem dado a Masterclass. O Foucault faz a transição para francês e eu aqui a ajudar com a tradução para português. Okay? Em sumário, este é o quarto e último webinar da série dos caminhos do TOA, e nessas 4 semanas, o que foi visto? Na primeira semana falou-se de ideação, criatividade, marca, como dar valor à marca, como valorizar a vossa marca e por aí. Na segunda semana foi mais baseado nos recursos humanos, a governança, a legalização, o senso de cumprir os prazos e dentro desses conteúdos. Na terceira semana falou-se sobre a precisão, a resiliência, a forma de saber corrigir o erro, de reconhecer que está errado e corrigir o erro. Ok, hoje o que é que nós vamos falar? Vamos falar das lições de liderança, 12 lições de liderança que o senhor Tony Elumelu acredita que fazem grande diferença no seu negócio. O conselho aqui de sempre é o mesmo de sempre, que vocês pratiquem tudo que vocês aqui aprendem na vossa vida, nos vossos negócios. Caso tenham dúvidas, questões, não se esqueçam de colocar comentários no chat. Obrigada. Madam Angela, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Foucault. So, like I said, we're going to be learning from the leadership session that Thierry had and some leadership lessons and learning points from that session. So the series of 12 lessons and learning points that we'll be going through. So the first is relentlessness. And let's look at what the dictionary says about relentless. It says showing or promising no abatement of severity, intensity, strength, or pace. And Thierry says, be ambitious and be focused on that ambition. Do not be distracted from the path of your ambition. Dare to apply for an opportunity even when you do not qualify. Try. Have an open mind. Find out what it takes to succeed in the space you've identified to play in. Do not see impossibilities. Once the self-willingness is there, the solution will come. And so let's look at an example that Thierry talked about. So Thierry says, an example of relentless. Thierry says, when he was very young, he saw an advert for a job at Allstate's Trust Bank. And the criteria for the job was a minimum of a second-class upper. So a 2-1, as we call it here in Nigeria. Thierry did not qualify as he had a second-class lower, a 2-2. But in spite of him not qualifying as per the criteria that was set for a second-class upper, he applied. He applied for the job, and in his application letter, he wrote that even though he didn't get a 2-1, this was not due to the fact that he's not smart, and he would like to be given a chance at the job. And Thierry got the job. Before we came in here, I was just, I tuned into the UBA Africa conversations, and one of the panelists actually spoke to this point and said there was one of the Nigerian singers, Onyeka Onwenu, and she had applied for a job, and the job was a bilingual job. And she spoke, so she applied for the job, and when she got on the job, for the interview, she indicated that they asked her what languages she spoke, and she said she speaks English, Igbo, and Pidgin English. And the panelists had said, oh no, we were looking to see someone who could speak English, French, or Portuguese or Spanish, you know, and she indicated how Igbo speaking, there are, you know, maybe about 30 million Igbos in Nigeria, and then maybe 15 million in the diaspora. This was the data that was shared at that at the panel. I haven't been able to verify that. But the point is, that's a demonstration, that's validating. For me, it was validating what Theo was saying. He's saying, you know, apply for the job, even when you don't qualify. You know, he says, try, believe in yourself. And she got the job, Theo got the job. So Nadia and Foko, please translate. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Angela. Então, a primeira lição das 12 lições de liderança do Sr. Tony fala de relentlessness, que é o mesmo que não se deixar abater, não cansar-se, não desistir. E o quais são os pontos aqui a ressaltar? É que você não deve sempre evitar a distração, ok? Deve ser atrevido ou ousado, mesmo quando você acha que não é qualificado para uma coisa. Se você quer, vai atrás, entrega-te. Não veja coisas como impossíveis. Tem que tentar sempre, tentar e tentar sempre. E como exemplo, nós temos aqui o caso do Sr. Tony, quando ele ainda era muito jovem, viu uma candidatura para um emprego, uma oferta de emprego para um banco, o Wall State Trust Bank, um banco na Nigéria. Ele era muito jovem e os requisitos eram bastante rígidos. Como, por exemplo, falavam aqui na classificação na escola, esse Second Class Upper, 2 para 1, que ele, no seu caso, só tinha, ele era Second Class Lower, quer dizer que a sua classificação era menor do que o requisito que ali estava. Mas ele não teve medo, ele se atreviu, ele se ousou, ele fez a sua candidatura e na sua carta de um pedido de emprego, ele disse: apesar de eu não ter essa classificação que vocês exigem, eu sou muito inteligente, eu sou motivado e eu sei que sou capaz de fazer o trabalho. E o que aconteceu? Ele conseguiu o lugar. Portanto, ele não ficou com medo, ele tentou. Muitas vezes nós fracassamos antes de tentarmos. Esqueçam isso. Esse é o primeiro conselho do Sr. Tony para uma boa liderança. Obrigada. Foko, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Donc, aujourd'hui, la première leçon de leadership que nous allons partager avec vous, c'est la ténacité, l'impitoyabilité. Donc, ici, Tony nous dit que vous devez être impitoyable, vous devez être ténace. Et le dictionnaire définit la ténacité comme étant l'esprit de quelqu'un qui montre qu'il ne peut pas se laisser abattre facilement, qui montre qu'il est assez intense et fort lorsqu'il a quelque chose à faire. Il est décisif lorsqu'il a quelque chose à faire. Pour cela, on dit qu'il faut être ambitieux, il ne faut pas être distrait par ses ambitions aussi en même temps. Il faut être très ouvert d'esprit et surtout ne pas voir l'impossibilité dans tout ce qu'on fait. Donc, comme exemple ici, on prend le cas de Tony qui, lors d'un entretien d'embauche à la Standard Bank, l'appel à candidature demandait un diplôme et lui, il avait 2 classes moins que le diplôme. Ça veut dire que le diplôme requis pour soumissionner n'était pas le diplôme que Tony avait, mais il a quand même soumissionné. Ça montrait qu'il était décisif et ambitieux. Il tenait à rendre possible l'obtention de ce poste-là. Et voilà comment il dit, le fait qu'il n'ait pas le niveau requis pour ce poste n'empêche pas qu'il soit assez smart et conséquent pour le boulot pour lequel il soumissionnait. Et tenez-vous tranquille, finalement, il a eu le boulot. Donc, voilà un exemple de ténacité. Thank you. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Foko, and thank you, Nadia. Foko, I think relentless is different from tenacious. I was just checking the French. It's sans relâche. Sans relâche.
Yes, I have used tenacity and impitoyability. I used two words.
Okay, But when I just checked, it says sans relâche. I think that's closer
oui,
to...
ok, sans relâche. Donc, c'est quelqu'un qui n'abandonne pas facilement et qui tient à ce qu'il fait, qui tient à obtenir ce qu'il veut. Ok, thank you, Angela.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, to be relentless, you know, to apply for a position doesn't only apply to a job, you know, so, you know, customers of yours may ask for an RFP and you may not qualify, but try anyway. As you know, you may get the job. So the next one is do not be too detached. As leaders, we shouldn't be too detached. And Thierry says there's a difference between delegation and abdication, you know, and recognize that leadership is situational, it's organization specific, and it depends on your control environment. And what does the dictionary say about delegation? Delegation is the assignment of any responsibility or authority to another person, normally from a manager to a subordinate, to carry out specific activities. It's one of the core concepts of management leadership. However, the person who delegated the work remains accountable for the outcome of the delegated work. Abdication is just failure to be responsible for the work that's being done. And, you know, it's just failure to fulfill a responsibility or duty. So you just abandon, you abandon it more or less. And, you know, you don't take on the responsibility that's required, even though you delegate the job. And let's look at a case in point that Thierry shared at that session. He said, Ebitimi Banigo, who was the then CEO of All States Trust Bank, when Thierry applied for the job, he went through every application letter. So if he did not do this, he would not have seen Thierry's application. So he had, you know, the process had been delegated to HR, but he did not abdicate his responsibility of ultimate hiring, you know what I mean? So he went through every application, and that's when he spotted Thierry. The same thing when the merger, another example, when the merger took place between STB and UBA, Thierry went through every HR file for managers and above, you know, to seek to know each person, that was at the level of manager and above. And this must have been a tedious process for him. So he didn't abdicate this responsibility to anybody else. He did it himself, you know. So after the translation of these two, I'd like to hear from the entrepreneurs in terms of examples that they can give on delegating or abdicating authority or being relentless, applying for things that they didn't qualify for, etc. Okay, so over to you, Nadia and Foucault.
Thank you, Angela. Ok? Então, vamos falar da segunda lição. A segunda lição fala em delegar e abdicar. A diferença. Delegar é algo que é bom de se fazer. Nós temos muitas responsabilidades, nós temos que delegar às vezes porque nós não conseguimos fazer tudo. Mas nós não devemos abdicar. Abdicar quer dizer, como é que se diz? Desassociar-se totalmente da responsabilidade ou da coisa que tem que ser tratada. Nós podemos delegar, mas nós temos que estar envolvidos. E como exemplo, nós temos estes dois casos. O caso da própria candidatura do Sr. Tony para esse posto no banco. O que aconteceu, o que valeu de ele ter sido contratado é porque o CEO do banco esteve a rever todas as candidaturas, uma por uma, e quando identificou a candidatura do Tony, gostou da ousadia, da forma como ele apresentou, e assim decidiu retê-lo, apesar de ele não ter tido aquela qualificação que era requerida. Portanto, se o CEO tivesse deixado essa função para os recursos humanos tratar, provavelmente ele nunca teria sido selecionado. Porque é que o recurso humano ia fazer? Olhar para os requisitos, olha, esse não preenche o requisito, fica de lado. Portanto, ele seria logo excluído. E outro exemplo é o exemplo que aconteceu com o senhor Tony pessoalmente. Nesse caso, ele, na qualidade do CEO, quando foram fazer a junção entre os dois bancos, o banco UBA e o banco, o Standard Bank, e na junção dos dois bancos, ele pegou em cada documento de cada gerente de cada um desses bancos e foi lendo para conhecer cada um. Ele pegou nas fichas de cada de cada gerente para entender, porque ele queria conhecer as pessoas com quem ele haveria de trabalhar. Portanto, ele não parou, delegou simplesmente, não abdicou, mas ele delegou e manteve-se envolvido. Ok? Portanto, isso é uma característica que um bom líder deve ter. Agora, a senhora Angela está a pedir que vocês deem exemplos de diferenças entre delegar situações em que alguém delega ou que se abdica totalmente da tarefa, e também exemplos do primeiro ponto, primeira lição que nós vimos, que é o Relentless, que é o mesmo que o foco, a ousadia e ir atrás das coisas. Portanto, quem tiver exemplos pode escrever no chat. Obrigada. Foco, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, la deuxième leçon de leadership que nous partageons aujourd'hui avec vous, venant de Tony, c'est de ne pas être trop détaché. Donc, Tony recommande justement de ne pas être trop détaché et de ne pas aussi confondre le fait que lorsqu'on vous demande de déléguer, de ne pas confondre la délégation et l'abandon. Effectivement, parce que la délégation dépend de la situation et ça dépend aussi d'une organisation spécifique ou bien du contrôle de l'environnement. Donc, le fait de déléguer, ça signifie que vous envoyez une certaine responsabilité à un subalterne afin qu'il puisse faire certaines tâches spécifiques que vous lui avez allouées. Et ça, c'est un caractère important dans le management et dans le leadership. Mais n'empêche que lorsque vous déléguez, vous restez l'ultime responsable et vous restez tenu par cette tâche. Alors qu'abdiquer, c'est vraiment manquer de faire ce qu'on devait faire et rater totalement sa responsabilité. Donc, maintenant, ici, Tony prend deux exemples. Il prend l'exemple lorsqu'il a eu le recrutement dont on vous a parlé tout à l'heure. Il nous dit, Epitimi Baningo, le directeur général de All State Bank, si lui-même n'avait pas pris le soin de lire la candidature de Tony, vous êtes sûr que Tony n'aurait pas été recruté. Donc voilà quelqu'un qui avait délégué le recrutement à son service de ressources humaines, mais lui-même a pris le soin de lire certaines lettres au point de détecter un talent comme Tony. Et vous connaissez la suite de l'affaire. Tony a été très brillant à ce poste, alors qu'il ne respectait pas les conditions de diplôme pour être éligible au poste en question. Et Tony dit que lui-même, lorsqu'il a repris la banque, il a pris la peine d'écouter et de voir le profil de chaque manager lorsqu'il s'agissait de fusionner la Standard Trust Bank et UBA. Donc, c'est juste pour vous dire que déléguer ne veut pas dire abandonner. Vous devez bien faire cette distinction-là. Donc, merci. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you so much, Foko. Thank you, Nadia. Ibukun, do you have any questions for us? Not questions.
Yeah, yes, I do. So I have a few comments. So this comment is from Justice Okafor. Relentlessness is a key quality that will help an entrepreneur to succeed, despite meeting with difficult challenges. A relentless entrepreneur will not see losses in the first few years as failures. So that's from Justice Okafor. Then we have another comment from Uzwa Essie. I applied to a partner. I applied to partner with I applied to partner with a big company as an undergraduate, and because I wouldn't give up, the CEO had a meeting with me, one of my best experience yet. So this is from Essay. Oladimeji Yusuf says relentlessness and persistent and being persistent is the key to success. But in some job applications, you will not be shortlisted before going to the next stage. So this is from Yusuf. As a business, then there's another comment from Charity Kalu. As a business person, you do not need to give up. Keep trying. As you delegate work or jobs, you need to keep up or keep an eye on what the delegates are doing to ensure they are on the right track. So that's from Charity. This is from Peter. Peter says relentlessness. So he's basically talking about relentlessness. So he's saying if sales targets are not met in a given time, are not met within the given deadline, it will not stop me from projecting higher sales targets in the coming year and changing my sales strategy. So basically saying that due to relentlessness, he's not going to let not being able to meet his target weigh him down. He's even going to set higher targets the following year and then change his strategies. So that's from Peter. So we have another one from Bawa. Bawa says, being relentless is a master key. I faced a lot of challenges since I decided to start my business in agriculture, but relentlessness has kept me going till now. So it's still forging ahead. Then we have another one from Rock Obina. As human resource business partner, as a human resource business partner where I'm working, I ensure that I do not get detached on vital issues that may hamper the growth of the organization. In doing this, I must be meticulous as well. So alongside being relentless is also trying to be very meticulous with what he does. Then we have another one from Stephen, FNG. Being in this training for me came as a result of being relentless. It took time before I could get around completing my application, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was selected or shortlisted. So this is a very good example of being relentless. Then we have another one from Olubenga Ogudeji. Relentlessness has helped me out with many difficulties of life to become a better person. I have achieved, so basically saying that he has achieved a lot due to being relentless. Especially starting his entrepreneurial journey. Then there's another one from Bumi Rufus. I have come to understand that as much as I have to delegate some tasks to people capable of doing it, the onus is on me to ensure that the task is completed successfully. So I think they're tying this to Chief Banigo checking every resume that comes in and not just leaving it to the HR alone. So yeah, this is all we have for now, and I'm sure more comments are coming in. Thank you.
Very good, very good. I mean, I'm just so amazed at how you guys are all applying it to your businesses. You know, relentless, think about relentless also, sometimes when you're applying, because you guys are new businesses, how sometimes they'll say 3 years track record. Sometimes you may not, you've just started your business and you don't have 3 years track record, but go ahead and apply, go ahead and be relentless, be like Theory and apply for it, even though, and then write your application letter and tell them why they should believe in you, okay? So, that's that. Let's move on to the next one. Number 3, age is not a factor. And Tia says leadership is not a function of age. As you know, he was 26 when he became branch manager, and he was 34 when he became a bank CEO, which was, the youngest in those days. He says you can be appointed a leader at a very young age and be required to lead those older than you, those who were possibly previously your leaders and even your friends. It says leadership is about being the first among equals. So you must be prepared to be humble. You need to be humble to succeed. Being a leader does not entitle you to lord it over others. And, he gave the example of how he became a CEO at a very young age, how Banigo became CEO at a very young age, and trusted TOE to be a branch manager in Banigo's home state at a very young age. So Banigo was a CEO at a very young age and was able to trust someone else, a young person as well, who was TOE, to be a branch manager in a state where he came from. Tio was appointed branch manager at 26, and he had to supervise people who were older than him and who were his friends previously. So age is not a factor in leadership. Number 4, know what it takes to succeed. So know what it takes to succeed. Doesn't that remind you of creativity when we learned about disruption, about understanding the environment and the competitive advantages, et cetera, and how to disrupt the market? That's what this reminds me of. So it says, Thierry says, know what it takes to succeed. You must visualize success internally to succeed. At the start of any assignment, ask yourself the question, what does it take to succeed? And I think this is so important as you guys write your business plans, which is, I believe, the stage that you're all at right now. As you write your business plan, ask yourself, what does it take to succeed? And embed yourself in the community. If you're not part of the community, you can't do well. This is what Thierry is saying. It says there are peculiarities in every market. Understand them and develop tailored solutions. Understand your profit and cost drivers. I think someone asked me last week about why people fail, why businesses fail, and remember we were saying that it was all around the finance. Some of it was around the financials. So sometimes you have to understand, not sometimes, all the time, you have to understand your profit and cost drivers. Understand financial statements. Identify risks and prefer mitigants to address these risks. Every business has risks. So you must understand the risks of your business and how to prefer solutions, how you're going to mitigate your risks. And then recognize that people are key to business success. So what is the case in point for this leadership lesson? When Thierry was appointed branch manager in Port Harcourt at All States Bank, he realized he did not have operations experience. So he was going to be a branch manager at a young age of 26. He didn't have operations experience in his repertoire. So on his own, he shadowed a cashier, a teller, ahead of his relocation to Port Harcourt to acquire the necessary knowledge. So he recognized he didn't have operations. He went to go and say, he went to shadow a teller so that he could gain some experience, so that he could supervise appropriately. When he got to Port Harcourt, he embedded himself in the community and quickly understood the market. He developed a tailored solution for that market, something called an invoice discounting facility. He obtained approvals, and then he went ahead and got commitment letters from his to his target market. His branch ended up being the most profitable branch, more than the combined profits of the other 34 branches. Imagine that. So he was the youngest branch manager. He goes to that branch. He didn't have operations background. He recognized what it took to succeed, and he went ahead and executed his agenda, and he became more profitable than all the 34 branches combined. That's amazing, and an amazing achievement. So over to you, Foko and Nadia, and let's get feedback as well. Thank you.
Ok, thank you, Angela. Então, vamos falar da terceira lição, que a terceira lição diz que a idade não é fator. O que é que o Sr. Tony quer dizer com isso? Ele diz que a liderança não é função de idade, ok? O que é importante é a pessoa querer e acreditar que é capaz de ser. Quando tu tens as ferramentas certas, não importa a idade. Seja humilde. Isso sim é importante. Humildade é necessário, é chave para se ter o sucesso, ok? Tem que aprender a respeitar os outros. Não se pode, a arrogância não leva a lado nenhum. Se tu queres fazer parte queres ser um bom líder, tens que ser humilde e tens que saber respeitar as pessoas. Como o ponto a seguir, que o ponto número 4, ele diz que saber o que é necessário para atingir o sucesso. O que é que tu precisas ter para teres o sucesso? Bem, Para tu ter sucesso, tu tens que primeiramente começar a visualizar internamente o sucesso. Tu tens que envolver-te com a comunidade à tua volta. Não pode, ninguém é uma ilha para trabalhar sozinho. Se és empreendedor de um setor, procura outros que são do mesmo setor e ajunta-te à comunidade. Aprende com outro, partilha com outro, bebe com outro. Estuda o mercado, entenda o mercado à tua volta, porque todo negócio tem seus riscos. Mas, se você entender quais são os riscos, você pode tentar evitá-los. Okay? Então, tens que tentar entender e levar sempre em consideração que tu não podes cometer todos os erros do mundo. Aprenda com quem já cometeu erros, como em comunidades. E lembre-se sempre que pessoas são chaves para o sucesso de qualquer negócio. Então, a tua equipa tem que estar envolvida, a tua equipa tem que estar encaixada com a tua visão do que você espera fazer do negócio. O que é que nós temos como exemplos aqui? Nós temos exemplos aqui do próprio senhor Tony, quando ele foi delegado para ser gerente de uma agência em Portaco. Nesse primeiro emprego, ele ainda era tão jovem, ele tornou-se gerente do banco aos 26 anos, o mais jovem de todos na história do banco, e depois tornou-se CEO aos 34 anos. Aos 34 anos, ele tornou-se o presidente, basicamente, do banco. E ele, quando foi enviado para ser gerente do banco no Portaco, ele, que é uma cidade na Nigéria, ele, como sabia que não tinha conhecimento de operações, não sabia como é que as operações aconteciam, o que ele foi? Ele tornou-se humilde, foi ficar atrás de um caixa do banco durante meses, a aprender semanas ou até meses, a aprender como é que a operação decorria, para que ele pudesse entender. Quando ele chegasse lá como gerente, ele sabia do que está a falar. Quando um funcionário chegasse para ele a falar com ele, ele sabia do que o funcionário estivesse a falar. Então, ele colocou-se pequenininho, foi lá aprender. Isso é lição para todos nós, ok? E outra coisa que ele fez, ele envolveu-se na comunidade da rede dos bancos na cidade. Quando ele chegou em Portaco, ele se engajou com a comunidade e outros bancos, e das 34 agências que existiam ali, a agência dele tornou-se a melhor ou a agência que dava melhores resultados. Por quê? Porque ele conviveu com os outros, entendia as dificuldades e tentava evitar os erros e evitar os riscos. Portanto, esses são os 2 pontos e, mais uma vez, exemplos, comentários no chat. Obrigado. Foucault, over to you. Foucault.
OK, thank you, Nadia. Thank you very much. OK, le prochain point, en l'occurrence, le point 3, Tony nous dit, l'âge n'est pas un facteur. Effectivement, le leadership n'est pas fonction de l'âge. Ça, vous devez le savoir. Vous pouvez être désigné comme un leader, même si vous êtes jeune. Le leadership ne tient pas compte de l'âge. Leadership, c'est juste être capable d'être soi-même et de surmonter, ou bien d'être humble et de surmonter un certain nombre de preuves. Vous devez être humble si vous devez aspirer au succès. Être un leader, c'est quelque chose d'important et ça vous permet d'être utile pour les autres. Donc, le leadership n'est pas un facteur. Voilà la 3e leçon de Tony. Et comme exemple, il nous dit que M. Banigo est lui-même devenu directeur général de la Ulster Trust Bank à l'âge étant jeune. Et étant jeune, il a encore recruté Tony, qui était aussi un jeune comme lui. C'est pour que vous compreniez bien, le leadership n'a pas d'âge. Le leadership l'âge n'est pas un facteur primordial lorsqu'on doit être un leader. Et nous le savons bien, Tony a été désigné comme brand manager, donc comme directeur d'agence, alors qu'il n'avait que 26 ans, imaginez-vous. Dans All State Trust Bank, là, pour recruter déjà étant jeune, et à l'âge de 26 ans, on lui a directement donné des responsabilités de chef d'agence ou directeur d'une agence. Donc, l'autre point, le 4e point, Tony nous dit, Vous devez savoir ce qui peut vous porter au succès, ce qui peut vous conduire au succès. Donc, vous devez visualiser déjà de par vous-même que vous êtes un succès. Et tout commence par un ensemble de responsabilités que vous vous donnez en vous posant un certain nombre de questions. Qu'est-ce qui va me porter au succès? Qu'est-ce que je dois faire pour réussir? Et pour cela, vous devez être impliqué dans votre vie communautaire. Vous devez vous impliquer dans la communauté, être engagé dans la communauté. Ne pas toujours mettre au devant les aspects financiers. Vous devez être ouvert au marché et comprendre ce marché-là afin de pouvoir le développer en tant que chef d'entreprise. Savoir comprendre ce qui peut apporter le profit à votre entreprise et savoir maîtriser vos coûts. C'est important lorsqu'on est chef d'entreprise. Savoir lire les états financiers et les comprendre. Et ce sont ces atouts, ce sont ces compétences que nous vous donnons dans le cadre de cette formation. Cette formation en gestion d'affaires de la Fondation Tony Lemelo. Donc, vous devez comprendre que avoir de succès en affaires, c'est important pour votre entourage. Le cas pratique que nous prenons ici, Tony nous partage son cas où, lorsqu'on l'a affecté à Port-Harcourt, c'est une ville du Nigeria, lorsqu'on l'a affecté là-bas comme chef d'agence, il a été obligé de prendre un caissier sous son escarcelle. C'est-à-dire, il s'est mis avec un caissier de façon un peu comme son ombre, quoi. C'est-à-dire, ça le concernait lui seul. Et ce caissier lui a permis de comprendre les opérations. Ça veut dire que ce n'était pas quelque chose de prévu. Mais puisqu'il voulait réussir, il fallait qu'il comprenne un certain nombre de choses. C'est un peu comme s'il faisait les heures supplémentaires. D'ailleurs, il s'est appuyé sur quelqu'un de la banque où on l'avait affecté pour l'aider à mieux comprendre un certain nombre de choses. Et en conséquence, Tony aussi nous raconte ce qui s'est passé. En conséquence, il a fait tellement de bonnes choses au sein de cette banque. Il a maîtrisé le marché, il a maîtrisé les partenaires, maîtrisé les factures, maîtrisé les opérations, au point où cette agence est devenue l'agence la plus rentable de tous les États du Nigeria. Et tenez-vous tranquille, il était jeune. Donc, en résumé, on retient que l'âge n'est pas un facteur, l'âge ne compte pas en termes de leadership et que pour réussir dans vos affaires, vous devez savoir ce qui vous porte au succès. Donc, voilà ce qu'on devait partager avec vous concernant ces points 4 et ces points 3 et point 4. Merci. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you so much, Foko, and thank you, Nadia. Foko, you pronounced Port Harcourt exactly the way it is supposed to be pronounced. Well done. Thank you. Ibu, could you have comments?
Yes, I do. I have some comments here. So I'll just share now. Okay, so I have a comment here from okay, so there are a lot of comments coming in. So I have one from, okay, there are a lot. Let me just start from, let me scroll and just start from the very beginning. Okay, so I have one here. It's from Apple Revolution. Only consistency and relentlessness has kept me going with my apple cultivation agenda in Cameroon. So I have another one from God's Will in Zerem. Dare to apply for an opportunity even when you do not qualify for it. Wow. I've known lots of people that are talented and nothing happens. It's not about the talent, it's about relentless drive. Yeah. Then there's one from Jacob. I learned at the early stage that it is wise to humble oneself and learn from everyone who has the knowledge you lack along the line of your business. Doesn't matter who is superior. This is from Bruna Njemba. TOE's story is a clear example of someone who is goal-oriented. He knew what he wanted. He went out of his way to learn it, to apply it, and acquire it. This is another one from Abi Biwa. I have shadowed under various farm managers across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and I have learned various tips on running a profitable agri-business. And I hope to apply these tips in my business. Then this is from James Solomon. In business, I had the opportunity of working with my employee who is far older than me in age, but with mutual respect, I learned from his experience while I led the whole team. This is from Lawrence Oluwaseun. We do not need to know everything, but it is important to know something about everything. I have been keen on this because it has a way of preparing me ahead. This is from Nwagu Stefani. When I started my fashion home, I found out most tailors fail to keep to date with their clients. So I focused on keeping to date with my clients, and that had put my business one step ahead. So I think it's more or less like the uniqueness of our business, making sure that she doesn't delay the customer or give them their clothes late, basically. So this is from Obi-Wan Ukenka. Studying TOE business and entrepreneurial life along with this training has really reshaped my business life and upgraded my business strategy, reformed my business as a whole, thanks to the training and thanks to Angela. This is from God's Will again. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied and successful is to do what you believe is great work. Also, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. There's another comment from Lawal Buka. Vision is the light that shines your path to success. The person you aspire to be is the person that would inspire the future generations. TOE is an inspiration to us all. From Okelo Jacinto, age is not a factor. Even David was so young, killed a giant Goliath in the Bible. All that David did was to focus himself and know what to do. This brought down Goliath in the Bible. Then we have another one from Ibrahim. My take on knowing what it takes to succeed is to be hungry for knowledge and new ideas that would aid creativity, leading to innovations. Then this is another one from Mariam. Staying humble is key because then people can trust to communicate with you regarding matters that could be vital for success. Ideas can be born by having simple communications with people that you lead. This is another one from Bawa. An entrepreneur needs to make the sacrifice to work out, to find out how things work. Reading and researching rigorously has helped me in this regard. Know what it takes to succeed in your field. Another one from Sani. As a leader, the most important thing is to try and bring the best out of yourself and your team by motivating and convincing your team of the importance of the organizational goal. This is from General. I wouldn't relent. So he's saying, I wouldn't relent following TOE's experience, as my business might have been registered for over 4 years without kickstarting the ideas I have. So definitely that does not make me relax on my ideas. So he's going to basically use all he had learned from TOE's experiences and life lessons to kickstart his business. And this is Uzoma. Thanks for the TOE way training. I understand that age is not a barrier. Business ideas, insight, foresight are very key. With these factors and others, one will succeed in business, whether old or young. This is another comment from Joshua. There are ways to convince an employer when you don't meet a specific requirement for a particular position. TOE impressed the employer from the letter he wrote, which was his first contact with him. So basically saying that you do not need to, you don't need some certain requirements to get a job or to get to the next level. You just need to be at the right place at the right time and take advantage of the opportunity you get. So this is from, okay.
I think this is, thank you all so much. This is very, very useful.
Yeah.
You guys have been, amazing. The guy who went around the 6 geopolitical zones to go and shadow farmers, to learn from those farmers. You know, you guys are just you're amazing. Thank you so much for the feedback. I think you guys have so much to share. Maybe we should arrange a session where you guys just give feedback and just have dialogue or whatever. Okay.
Okay. Yes, we'll do that.
Okay. So going on to the next one, how to succeed in sales. So Thierry says, you cannot sell a product or a service you do not understand. You know, he says, in everything we do, product knowledge is key for success. Undergo rigorous and stringent training to understand the product. You know, so this is important. And he gives us an example. He says, when his first job, Thierry's first job, I don't know how many of you know, was selling photocopying machines. And he said his first job after his first degree was selling photocopying machines. He was selling Ricos and IBMs. And he says he went through stringent, rigorous training, morning and evening, on the sales process and the technicalities of a photocopying machine. Obviously, he couldn't sell the photocopying machine if he didn't understand its functions, how it worked, etc. So he's saying you can't sell what you don't understand. Next, people. Number six, people are key to success. I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over again. Thierry says talents, you remember from 2 weeks ago or last week, I think it was, Thierry says talents I don't have, I don't regret. He surrounds himself with people. So he says people are key to success. People are key to business success. People should be empowered. Organizations must support their business drivers and give them access. People should not be scared of you as a leader or be unable to air their views. Organizations that are too hierarchical and do not allow people to air their views don't do well. Remember, management by consensus, syndicating views, these are all the theory ways. So he's saying, you know, allow people to air their views. He says people management is key. You cannot be a successful leader if you don't know how to manage people, as results are achieved through people. And then he goes on to say, during interviews, look for passion and for other areas of interest, and then place round pegs in round holes. You know, the point here is this, you know, someone may apply for a job, you advertise a particular job, someone applies for it, but, you know, during the interview process, you may find that the person has another area of expertise. So, you know, he's saying, look out for that so that you're placing round pegs in round holes, okay? And then the example he gives, you know, Thierry says, you know, when he was a branch manager, you know, his boss said he has a director's profile. You know, you couldn't sort of impose stuff on him he didn't want. He fought for his people. If someone needed to be promoted, he made sure they got promoted. He was empowered, you know. As CEO of STB, he sat on the open floor with his executives. You know, this gave executives access, you know, he's talked about access to leadership. So sitting on the open floor with his executives gave them access. Remember, he says leaders should be approachable, etc. And then he eats in the staff canteen at Hare's Holdings. He sits there and eats with everybody, from the very junior to the very senior. Every day he eats in that canteen, and you know, he encouraged you to be able to adopt the same. Let me pause for Nadia and Foucault to do the interpretation.
Thank you, Madam Angela. Ok, então vamos continuar a ver as lições de liderança do Sr. Tony Elumelu. Ok? A quinta lição é como ter sucesso na venda. O que o Sr. Tony diz é que tu não podes vender aquilo que tu não conheces. Então, conheça bem o teu produto para que o possas vender. Não há pior coisa do que alguém chegar para ti, quer comprar algo e faz-te uma pergunta sobre o teu produto, a coisa que estás a vender, e tu não és capaz de responder. Isso é um desastre. Portanto, conheça o teu produto. entenda todas as funcionalidades, todos os aspectos positivos e negativos, porque há clientes, possíveis clientes que poderão conhecer e, se você não conhecer, terrível. Ok? Como exemplo, nós temos o caso do Tony. Eu não sei se vocês sabem, mas o primeiro emprego deles, ainda quando jovenzinho, ainda se formar, foi vendendo fotocopiadoras. Ele, para ser capaz de vender as fotocopiadoras, apesar de não ser a área dele, ele não era da área técnica, ele meteu-se a aprender como é que as fotocopiadoras funcionavam. Ele aprendeu tudo que era preciso saber acerca dessas fotocopiadoras, lendo manuais e conversando com pessoas mais experientes, o que fosse necessário, mas ele entendia essas fotocopiadoras de frente atrás, trás para frente, para ele poder vendê-las. Portanto, conheça o vosso produto. A lição número 6 diz que as pessoas são a chave do sucesso. Isso é algo que vocês já ouviram certamente aqui durante estas semanas e ouvirão sempre, desde que estejam ligados a essa fundação, porque o Sr. Tony realmente acredita que pessoas são chave do sucesso. E como tal, nós, como líderes, nós como empreendedores, temos que saber como tratar o nosso pessoal. Como? Esqueçam a hierarquia. As organizações com muita hierarquia nunca têm sucesso, as coisas dão certo. Os trabalhadores não podem ter medo de ti. Os trabalhadores têm que olhar para si como líder, admirar, sim, mas ter medo, não. Se o funcionário nem consegue chegar até si para dizer o que há algo a correr mal, então, esqueçam, estão no caminho errado. Um líder de verdade tem que estar acessível aos seus colaboradores. Ele tem que ser capaz de empoderar os seus colaboradores. Dizer às pessoas, dar às pessoas a oportunidade para elas também serem capazes de demonstrar aquilo que são capazes. Okay? E durante o processo, ele ainda dá umas dicas, durante o processo da entrevista, busca sempre pessoas com paixão, pessoas que parecem que não estão lá só para preencher o lugar, mas porque acreditam na tua visão ou porque estão interessadas na tua visão. Busca o perfil certo para que assim você tenha a equipa certa. Ok? Como exemplos, nós temos aqui, de novo, o Sr. Tony. Ele, quando era o gerente da agência em Potaco, ele tinha uma relação muito aberta com os seus colaboradores, seus funcionários. Para começar, ele não sentava-se num escritório separado, mas ele sentava no escritório comum, esses escritórios abertos, onde todos os seus executivos também estavam ali sentados. De forma que eles, sempre que quisessem alguma coisa, ou quisessem consultar alguma coisa, aconselhar-se ou dizer alguma coisa, eles tinham ali acesso direto. Quando está no escritório fechado, há sempre aquele receio de chegar até ali, aquele respeito exagerado e tudo. Ele comia na cantina junto com seus funcionários. Ele sempre esteve aberto para escutar, ouvir e partilhar com os seus colaboradores. Portanto, essas são características de um líder de sucesso, ok? Seja amigo, seja companheiro, seja colega, seja líder, mas não seja a pessoa que faça amedrontar os seus colaboradores. Obrigada. Foco, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you very much. Donc, le cinquième point dans les leçons de Tony, leçon de leadership, Tony nous dit, nous devons savoir comment vendre, comment réussir les ventes. Et il dit, il sera difficile pour vous de vendre un produit ou un service que vous ne connaissez pas. En conséquence, il est important de bien connaître le produit que vous vendez afin de pouvoir réussir vos ventes. Et pour cela, il est important de se former dans la connaissance du produit, de la bonne compréhension du produit. Vous ne pouvez pas vendre un produit que vous ne connaissez pas. C'est important pour un leader de maîtriser son service, toutes les caractéristiques. Donc, Tony nous prend l'exemple de lui-même où il dit l'un de ses premiers jobs, c'était de vendre des photocopieurs, des machines à photocopier. Rico. Il a vendu de photocopie au point où il connaissait toutes les caractéristiques d'une machine à photocopier. Donc, c'est important pour vous, lorsque vous devez faire les affaires, lorsque vous êtes un leader, de maîtriser. Dans la prochaine leçon de leadership que Tony nous donne, Tony nous dit l'homme est la clé du succès. L'homme est la clé du succès, les ressources humaines. Vous devez savoir que sans ressources humaines, vous ne pouvez pas réussir en affaires. Et ces personnes qui vous entourent, ces ressources doivent être capacitées, doivent être formées. Vous devez les former, vous devez les rendre autonomes, leur permettre d'être responsables. Et toute organisation doit pouvoir compter sur ce personnel à qui on donne des compétences pour mieux faire les jobs pour lesquels ils sont recrutés. Et les gens autour de vous doivent croire en vous. C'est important pour un leader d'être accepté par la ressource humaine qui est autour de lui. Donc, Tony nous dit, le management de la ressource humaine est la clé. Vous ne pouvez pas arriver au succès en tant que leader si vous ne prenez pas soin des personnes qui vous entourent. Et le résultat que vous obtenez, c'est toujours à travers les autres que vous obtenez ce résultat. Et il dit, durant les interviews, soyez attentifs à la passion des personnes que vous voulez recruter et surtout, tenez compte des autres intérêts qu'eux ils ont. C'est important de poser la question sur leur passion et sur leurs différents centres d'intérêt. Ça peut vous inspirer pour savoir qui est la personne, pour mieux savoir qui est la personne que vous recrutez. Donc, voilà ce quoi Tony a partagé avec nous. Et comme exemple, il prend son exemple lui-même en disant que lorsqu'on l'a pris à Allstate, lorsqu'on l'avait mis comme directeur d'agence à Port-Harcourt, il a fait ceci. Il a bien observé le directeur général et il s'est rendu compte que le directeur général ne s'était pas trompé sur son profil. Il a dit, Tony, tu as le profil pour pouvoir être le super dans ma banque. Et pour cela, Tony a pris la peine de bien maîtriser toute sa ressource humaine et il prenait le soin de promouvoir ceux qui pouvaient être promus. Et pour cela, il formait son personnel. Il était très ouvert avec son personnel, que ce soit en tant que directeur à la Standard ou bien à UBA. Il de manger à la cantine avec son personnel. Donc, Tony est très sociable. Il est très sociable et il s'habitue aux personnes qui l'entourent. Il se rend convivial. C'est donc un autre caractère qu'on vous permet d'avoir lorsque vous êtes un leader. Tenez compte du fait que la personne humaine est la plus riche des ressources que vous pouvez avoir. Je vous remercie. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you very much, Foucault. Thank you very much, Nadia. So moving on to the next one, which is no sentiments. No sentiments. So an organization is a constellation of people, but we must have an ethos. And the dictionary says ethos is about character, characterizes, it's the ideals, the guiding beliefs, ideals that characterize a community, nation, or ideology. It's about the spirit of a culture, the underlying sentiment that informs the beliefs, customs, or practices of a group. So Thierry says, drop sentiments and you surround yourself with the right people. An organization that encourages people to gossip and to backbite, leadership must stamp out immediately. Indiscipline and creating an air of untouchables destroys an organization. Sometimes you have to take certain actions on untouchables to break the myth. So don't have untouchables, don't have, it says no sentiments, so sometimes if there's a myth about untouchables, you have to break that myth by taking certain actions on people that are considered untouchables. Poor performers will always whip up sentiments. Sorry, let me just get the slide, sorry. Poor performers, poor performers will always tell you, their boss did this, their boss did that. As a leader, you must not fall for this. But, if you realize it, if you've made a mistake, you've fallen for it, and you've made a decision, for instance, for one of your staff, and then you realize it, reverse yourself when you make the wrong decision. Don't forget, this is one of the TOE ways. People who compete internally are on a self-destruction path. This happens when meritocracy is not upheld. So Theo is an advocate for meritocracy. you know, and he's saying, you know, don't compete internally. The competition, he always says, is outside. In reality, he says, performance management systems are not perfect, you know. So he says, strive for a performance management system that at least is a minimum of 80, you have at least 80% confidence level of it. You know, you'll never have a perfect performance management system, but at least work with one that you feel is 80% okay. Ensure you reward and promote the right people. Just imagine if you're promoting people who don't deserve it, you know, you're just undermining the entire meritocracy. Yeah. And Thierry says, psychophancy kills institutions. Psychophancy is linked to tribalism. Let the best man get the job, you know. It's not about where you come from. It's about, you know, doing the job well. Someone should, and this is one quote I like from Thierry. He says, someone should not lose something because they're close to you. But he says, someone should also not get something because they are close to you. So he says there should be a balance. So, you know, maybe there's a bid, you know, there's someone that is a relative, for instance, that is in that line of business. That, you know, that relative shouldn't get the business because they're close to you. But they should also not be excluded because they're close to you. So there should be a balance, is what Theo is saying. Leadership should not speak differently. Remember, once a decision is reached, you all speak with one voice. It says there should be no camps, you know. It says camps polarize institutions because camps lead to self-interest and no longer corporate interest. So it's very important. Don't create camps in your organization. It will destroy your organization. Please be mindful of this no sentiments. And then decision number 8, decision-making and execution. The most difficult thing to do is make decisions. Remember, Thierry says in decision-making, remember from the Thierry way, I think last week, it was like, make a decision, give a decision of yes or no within 24 hours. So, you know, you have to make a decision. And, you know, obviously, if you make the wrong decision, reverse yourself. The most difficult thing Thierry says to do is make decisions. The difference between successful and unsuccessful leaders are the decisions they make. Leaders should not make suboptimal decisions. People see through every decision you make, so make sure you can defend your decisions. At times, seemingly difficult paths may create monumental impact. Things are not always easy. Once a decision is made, quickly translate the decision to actions. Remember, it's not about the dream, it's translating your dreams to reality. So, you know, the example he gives, he says, STB had 2 options to achieve their strategic intent of being one of the top 10 banks. One of it was to acquire Crystal Bank, a distressed bank, and the other was to acquire Magnum Trust that was in clearing and owned by one of the new generation banks. So obviously acquiring Crystal Bank, you know, the earlier comment that at times seemingly difficult paths may create monumental impact. That really relates to this comment because the decision was made to acquire Crystal Bank, even though it was distressed, as he felt the impact of the turnaround would be more. At a retreat at the Bellissimo, the decision was reached to merge with UBA. Thierry put this into action immediately following the retreat. So again, this is another example of turning your dreams into reality. He recognized that this is going to be a lot of work to combine UBA and STB. So he freed himself from being the STB CEO. He he delegated that role to Philip Sodoza and Kennedy Ozoka to run STB while he focused on merging STB and UBA. Okay, let me take this corporate interest at all times because I think this is also very important in the context of no sentiments. So he says in the corporate arena, there is corporate and then there's self. So corporate, he must recognize that the corporate is above self in the corporate arena. Separate personal and official issues. You must separate yourself from the corporate. Competition is external, like I said earlier. Do not ignore competition. Put them on your radar, but do not magnify them to such an extent that the organization begins to feel inferior. So in terms of the case in point, in 2010, when the Central Bank of Nigeria retroactively imposed the CEO tenure limit of 10 years, TOE presented arguments to the board, recognizing that there were 5 stakeholder groups, in terms of challenging the regulator. He says the investing public would not want UBA to challenge the regulator. Staff would not want UBA to challenge the regulator. Customers would not like UBA to challenge the regulator. Regulators would not like UBA to challenge them. And so, TOE, even though he wanted his job, he wanted to remain a CEO, he was one of 5 people, 5 stakeholder groups. And so he had to put the corporate above self. So it was, corporate interest above self-interest. He presented the case that he's only one of 5 stakeholders, and immediately the board appointed a new CEO within 48 hours. So let's ask Nadia and Foko to do the translation on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Ok, pessoal, então vamos continuar. Vamos agora ver a lição número 7, que fala de não se ter sentimento, ou ter um afastamento sentimental dos negócios. Como? Porque uma organização, apesar de ser um grupo de pessoas, né, como se uma constelação de pessoas, ela tem um caráter próprio. Ela não é uma pessoa. E como tal, as decisões devem ser tomadas nesse sentido. O líder deve retirar de si todo esse sentimentalismo, tribalismo, amizade e tudo isso em todas as suas decisões, em tudo que ele tiver que fazer no negócio. Por quê? Porque uma organização onde se alimenta a fofoca, onde se alimenta o espírito de dar apoio ou promover as suas por causa da sua etnia, ou por causa do seu apelido, ou por causa do seu grau de parentesco, ela está condenada ao fracasso. Coloquem isso na vossa mente, porque isso é certamente o fracasso. O Sr. Tony não suporta a meritocracia dentro da sua organização, porque ele acha que a competição é fora, a competição não deve ser dentro. Os funcionários não devem competir entre si. Os funcionários, o líder não deve incentivar os funcionários a trair-se uns aos outros para conseguir assegurar melhores lugares ou para conseguir ser promovidos no negócio, na empresa. Há uma coisa aqui que ele diz que é muito importante, muito interessante, que ele diz que uma pessoa não deve perder oportunidades porque é ligada a ti. Da mesma forma, uma pessoa não deve receber indevidamente oportunidades só porque ela é ligada a ti. O que quer dizer? Alguém que seja teu familiar, você não quer que por causa do teu apelido ou por causa dessa pessoa ser teu familiar, ela perca a oportunidade de emprego, oportunidade de bolsas, oportunidade de financiamento. Não queres. Pode dizer porque ela está a ser vingada, ela está a ser lixada porque é meu familiar. Tu não queres isso. Da mesma forma, tu também não queres que porque ela é meu familiar, porque ela é ligada a mim, ela tem que receber algo que deveria ser para outra pessoa. Evitemos isso, ok? Não criem campos, não criem separatismo, evitem para a vossa empresa poder crescer. Levem isso convosco. Quebra esse mito de intocáveis. Esse povo ou essa tribo não merece ou não deve ser. Tá? Então, lição número 8 fala de tomada de decisão e execução. O que o Sr. Tony diz aqui? Ele diz que quando se tem uma decisão para se tomar, deve-se tomar rapidamente, como líder. No máximo, em 24 horas, a decisão deve ser tomada, seja ela qual for. Se depois perceberes que a decisão não foi a melhor, não é errada, volta atrás. Mas a decisão deve ser tomada, não deve ser adiada eternamente. Avalie, pensa e tome a sua decisão, porque as pessoas olham para ti, avaliam-te consoante as decisões que tomares. E, atenção, que nos momentos difíceis são os momentos mais críticos onde as decisões precisam ser tomadas o mais rápido possível. E, claro, né, sempre com cautela. Como exemplo aqui, nós temos o exemplo houve uma altura em que, ainda na qualidade de CEO, ele via a oportunidade de comprar 2 bancos. Um que era o Crystal Bank, que era um banco que estava em ruína, um banco que não tinha basicamente futuro, e o outro, o Magnum Bank, esse é um banco novo, com estrutura e tudo bem. Ele pensou, analisou e decidiu comprar o Crystal Bank. Ele sabia que ia exigir muito dele, então o que ele fez? Ele deixou a gerência, a responsabilidade de direção do banco para ele delegou alguém para cuidar daquilo, enquanto ele focou nessa junção dos 2 bancos, porque ele entendeu que aquilo, ele sabia, tomou a decisão após pensar, era algo crítico, era um momento tenso para agir, mas ele agiu com cabeça e ele sabia que ele ia dedicar tempo, ia dedicar esforço ali para fazer com que as coisas corressem bem. Portanto, é assim, toma decisões rápido, mas toma decisão seguro de sabes o que vais fazer. O nono ponto é colocar o interesse do negócio acima de tudo. Portanto, separa-te do negócio. Muitos empreendedores têm tremenda dificuldade em separar o que é pessoal do que é do negócio. Desde conta bancária, desde o dinheiro, desde os interesses, os recursos e tudo. Pessoal, separem as coisas. Lembra que não há competição dentro do negócio. Competição, o concorrente está fora. Dentro do negócio, o foco todos deve ser no negócio. Ok? Não coloca o teu interesse, porque eu gostaria de ter mais ou de estar mais. Não. Pensa no negócio. Decisões têm que ser baseadas no que é melhor para o negócio. Como exemplo, nós temos o Sr. Tony, em 2010, havia uma oportunidade, mudou-se ele era o CEO na altura do Banco Central e tinha o requisito, mudou o regulamento, dizia que 10 anos é o limite para ocupar essa posição. Ele queria ficar ainda mais tempo no lugar, mas ele avaliou e pensou, se eu fizer isso não vai ser bom para se eu fizer essa luta para manter na posição, não vai ser bom para os investidores públicos, não vai ser bom para os funcionários, não vai ser bom para os clientes, não vai ser bom para a agência reguladora que impôs essa lei. Então, só porque eu quero, vai ser bom só para mim, eu faço isso? Não. Eu deixo porque a maioria das pessoas, a elas não lhes interessa, não é bom para elas. Eu devo colocar o negócio à frente de tudo. E foi assim que ele afastou-se e deixou que as coisas acontecessem. Portanto, ele sacrificou seu interesse pessoal em prol do negócio. Ok? Negócio acima de tudo. Tá, obrigada. Foucault, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. Donc, nous allons regarder les prochaines leçons de Tony qu'il partage avec nous. En l'occurrence, la leçon sur le sentiment. Tony dit, en affaires, il ne faut pas avoir de sentiment. Lorsqu'on est un leader, on n'a pas de sentiment. La flagornerie, c'est quelque chose qui peut tuer une institution. Et ça s'assimile au tribalisme. Alors, il faut éviter ça. Alors, lorsque vous gérez une entreprise, lorsque vous êtes leader, vous devez tenir compte des avis de tout le monde. Ne pas seulement prendre des décisions sur des sentiments. Et il dit, quelqu'un peut perdre quelque chose, mais à cause des avis des autres, Tony, dans son cas, donnait la raison à celui qui était dans la raison d'après lui. C'est-à-dire, il ne s'alliait pas, je veux dire quoi? Il ne mettait pas les sentiments au devant lorsqu'il voulait mettre au devant les intérêts de l'entreprise. OK, ça c'est le point. Permettez. OK, il dit, poor performer are always whip up sentiment. Il dit, OK, les personnes qui ne sont pas très performantes sont toujours ceux qui misent plus sur le sentiment. Et Théonie dit une chose, pas de sentiment. vous devez éviter les compétitions internes. Dans une entreprise, il ne doit pas avoir de compétition interne. L'entreprise doit être performante. Il faut laisser de côté tout ce que vous avez comme sentiment. Et dans une organisation, il faut encourager ceux qui travaillent et décourager le commérage. Le commérage n'est pas bien et ne permet pas que l'entreprise puisse évoluer. L'indiscipline au sein d'une entreprise peut créer des situations de frustration. Et pour cela, qui fait ce qui va à l'encontre du groupe, on ne doit pas avoir de sentiments, on doit punir la personne. Donc ça, c'est ce que Tony dit en termes de pas de sentiments lorsqu'on est un leader. Au contraire, il faut récompenser ceux qui le méritent. Il faut travailler avec la méritocratie et non avec les compétitions inutiles. Lorsqu'on est en interne, la compétition, c'est avec l'extérieur, ce n'est pas en interne. En interne, on récompense les gens qui le méritent, indifféremment des obédiences, pas de sentiments en affaires. Comme dit souvent Kofi Gombo, nos petits illustres. Donc, l'autre point que Tony dit, c'est la prise de décision et l'exécution. Vous devez savoir passer à l'action. La plupart des difficultés, c'est lorsque on tarde à prendre des décisions. Vous devez prendre des décisions instantanément. La différence entre le succès et l'échec d'un leader, c'est dans sa capacité à prendre des décisions. Vous devez prendre promptement des décisions. Et on le verra tout à l'heure dans les cas, dans les exercices, dans les exemples que nous allons prendre. Donc, et lorsqu'on est en entreprise, les décisions doivent se prendre tout le temps. C'est toujours un choix qu'on doit faire. Et lorsque vous avez le choix, faites votre choix et assumez le choix que vous allez faire. Et on dit bien, ce n'est jamais facile. Et quand la décision a été prise, vous devez rapidement passer à l'action. Ne perdez pas de temps. Quand la décision est prise, passez à l'action. Le cas que Tony prend, c'est le cas où il est arrivé où Standard Trust Bank avait deux options. Soit acheter Crystal Bank, soit acheter Manium Bank. Alors, Tony a rapidement fait son choix sur Crystal Bank et il a assumé. Et au lieu de se reposer, il s'est plutôt rapidement mis à l'action vu qu'il y avait la fusion qu'il devait gérer avec la fusion. Il a dû déléguer son pouvoir de directeur général à deux de ses collaborateurs, en l'occurrence Philippe Odioza et Kennedy Uzoka. Il leur a confié des responsabilités et il s'est concentré sur la fusion. C'est des cas que nous avons déjà vus auparavant. Donc, le dernier point que nous avons vu jusqu'à présent, c'est les intérêts professionnels, tout le temps. Donc, Tony dit, ne perdez jamais de vue l'intérêt commun. L'intérêt commun doit toujours primer sur ses intérêts personnels. C'est important pour une entreprise. Donc, mettez à côté ce qui vous revient et mettez toujours au devant l'intérêt global. Et surtout, séparez les intérêts individuels des intérêts professionnels de l'entreprise. Il répète, la compétition, la concurrence, elle est externe. Mais lorsqu'on est en interne, on met en commun toutes les compétences pour que l'organisation soit une réussite. Dans l'exemple qu'il prend, il dit en 2010, la Banque centrale avait décidé que pour être directeur général d'une banque, il faut avoir au moins 10 ans d'expérience. Alors, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Tony avait à ce moment-là le choix. Il fallait prendre une décision. Est-ce qu'il devait aller à l'encontre? Est-ce que UBA, la banque gérée par Tony, devait aller à l'encontre du régulateur? Est-ce que tout le personnel, le staff de UBA, devait aller à l'encontre du régulateur? Est-ce que les clients de UBA, non, les clients de UBA ne voulaient pas que Tony aille à l'encontre du régulateur. Le régulateur lui-même ne voulait pas que la banque UBA aille à l'encontre d'eux-mêmes. Alors, qu'est-ce que Tony a fait? Tony a directement démissionné de ses fonctions de directeur général et quelqu'un d'autre a été nommé à sa place. Donc, vous voyez ici que Tony s'est sacrifié d'intérêt global. Le régulateur avait dit il faut 10 ans d'expérience. C'était une nouvelle loi, on suppose. Alors, Tony a accepté qu'on mette un nouveau succès, qu'on le remplace par quelqu'un d'autre. Je vous remercie. On va plus loin, Angela. Si vous avez des commentaires, faites-le dans le chat box de YouTube. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Foko and Nadia. Thank you. So moving on to the last three, focus on shaping your image. Remember, we talked about strong branding focus a couple of weeks ago, very early on. And then we also realized how important when we looked at, I think someone asked the question of what makes startups fail. And one of the things was marketing, not doing a good marketing job. So focus on shaping your image. Theory says, pay attention to reputational management, marketing, and corporate communications. Set how you want the world to see you. When the world sets how you are viewed, it is difficult to change. So looking at an example, Theo says, at STB, Theo motivated his team to write a generational statement to democratize banking. Remember that? We're going to write a generational statement, and we're going to compel people to believe us because of our achievements. Remember that quote? So that was what they focused on at STB. TOE believed that results should speak for themselves and therefore ignored branding and corporate communication. Nature abhors a vacuum. The public tagged TOE and his team cowboys because they had not focused on shaping their image. So when TOE started Hairs Holdings and Tony Elumelu Foundation, he intentionally focused on branding so as not to repeat the mistake he made at STB. Moving on, emotional intelligence, number 11. And Theo says, ensure you have social awareness, social awareness, on emotional intelligence, social awareness is key. It gives you the ability to understand and respond to the need of others. So communicate, humility is key. Understand other people's feelings is all central to emotional intelligence, as Daniel Coleman, the emotional intelligence expert, says. Leaders must be able to listen. Remember, from the TOE way, leaders must listen. Some people do not speak, so leaders should be watchful and draw out their views. And I think I'm going to move on from this example. And then number 12, leadership is situational. Leadership depends on the stage of the development of the organization. So every phase of our professional life calls for an adjustment. This is what Theo says. And Theo says there are things that he did at STB that a large organization cannot do, as these institutions are at different stages of development. Remember that example of giving out a car, a BMW and all that? He could do that at STB, but he can't do that now, So at the helm of Hairs Holdings and the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Theo is focused on entrepreneurship and propagating Afro-capitalism and ensuring that these institutions are built to last. So in summary, some constants for success: people management, ability to recruit, develop, assess, reward, and discipline people. He stresses that people management is key to success. Define your direction, your goal, and your focus. Define milestones and measure as you go along. And embrace a discipline of getting things done, turning your ideas to action, your dreams to reality. Great leaders are tough on discipline. Great leaders are fair but firm. Great leaders have a strong culture ethos and they are involved in driving it. They preach it, show it, propagate it. They propagate it and they protect it and do not tolerate deviance. At one of the TOE Way sessions that I held, I just did a sample feedback from the participants, and this was at an induction session. And one thing I observed is that many people who have worked with TOE have indicated that one thing that has motivated them while working with TOE is his belief in them. TOE has given them jobs that stretch them, even me. Believe in your staff and watch the results. So that ends the entire series, the four webinars, and I'll hand over to Nadia and Foko to translate, and I'd like feedback from everyone on all this and any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Angela. Great. I never get tired of listening to this. Ok, então, vamos falar das 3 lições finais. A 10ª é o foco na tua imagem, ok? Preste atenção na tua reputação. Como líder, é muito importante que a tua reputação seja aquela que você realmente quer que as pessoas vejam. Lembre-se que, uma vez que as pessoas olham para ti de uma forma, é muito difícil para mudar essa imagem. Portanto, atenção à vossa imagem. A inteligência emocional, número 11, chama para uma consciência social, né? Quer dizer, um líder deve ser capaz de ser bom ouvinte. Nem toda a gente é bom falante. Então, o líder tem que ser capaz de, mesmo aqueles que não falam, conseguir arrancar deles informações, conseguir arrancar deles o que for que seja que eles querem partilhar, que eles querem o seu ponto de vista de uma situação, os conselhos que têm para dar, enfim, não é o fato da pessoa ser calada que não tenha coisas para dar, não tenha contributos para fazer, tem, mas às vezes o líder tem que ser ouvinte, quer dizer, fala menos, escuta mais, custa às vezes. O 12º e último ponto fala da liderança, que a liderança é situacional, ou seja, a liderança muda, o aspecto da liderança muda. Há decisões que tu podes tomar no início dos teus negócios que anos depois já não podes tomar da mesma forma. Ok? Por exemplo, tu podes hoje, enquanto o dono de uma empresa pequena, seres tu mesmo, dependendo do país, dependendo de onde estás, tu podes ser o próprio a conduzir e a levar a tua viatura de um lugar para outro. Mas há momentos da empresa, vai chegar numa altura que tu não podes fazer isso. Terás que ter alguém que te conduza. Então, há decisões que tu podes tomar para o benefício do negócio, que essa decisão, alguns meses, alguns anos depois, tu não podes tomá-la. Portanto, essa questão de liderança não está escrito em pedra que as coisas vão ser sempre assim. É preciso prestar atenção ao momento para poder saber tomar as decisões. Portanto, em sumário, o que é que nós temos a dizer? Que o senhor Tony Elumelu acredita que as pessoas são a chave para o sucesso de uma organização. Por isso, há que prestar atenção, há que saber gerir as pessoas, há que prestar muita atenção nas pessoas. Dá apoio, forma, empodera, escuta e faça a tua equipa tornar-se uma equipa de sonho. Defina as metas, defina as tuas metas. Onde é que tu queres chegar? Onde é que te vês daqui a 1 ano, daqui a 6 anos? E depois, não se esqueça de fazer um monitoramento. Olha, passaram 6 meses. O que é que eu já fiz para estar mais próximo da minha meta? O que é que eu deveria fazer que eu não fiz? O que é que eu posso mudar? O que é que eu posso alterar? Portanto, há que acompanhar. E outra coisa chave para um bom líder é a disciplina. Um bom líder tem que ser disciplinário. Ele não deve só pregar a disciplina, mas ele deve ser disciplinado. Ele deve viver a disciplina, ele deve praticar a disciplina. Não adianta dizer às pessoas, vocês não podem chegar tarde, e ele, como líder, está sempre a chegar atrasado nas reuniões, nos encontros, não respeita as pessoas, porque é líder. Esses são maus exemplos e nunca vão conduzir a um bom líder. E desafia os teus colaboradores, desafia-os, põe-os a dar-lhes oportunidade para demonstrarem que são capazes. O senhor, muita gente que trabalhou com o Tony Alumelu diz que a coisa mais interessante que lhes aconteceu em trabalhar com ele é o facto dele as desafiar. Ele puxa, obriga a pessoa a fazer coisas que elas não pensavam que seriam capazes. Logo, elas se dão o máximo de si e acabam por tornar-se melhores pessoas. Okay? Então, este é o último webinar da série do TOA Way, que é basicamente as orientações, as crenças do Sr. Tony Alumelu para chegar a um negócio de sucesso. Obrigada a todos. Se tiverem comentários no chat, faz favor. Foco, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Donc, les prochaines leçons que Tony a bien voulu partager avec nous sont les suivantes. Donc, en leçon 10 de leadership, il dit nous devons être focus sur notre image de marque. Donc, on doit pouvoir prendre soin de notre image de marque. Et Tony dit, et on l'a vu lors des tuyaux de sa façon de faire, nous devons on doit prendre soin. Il faut beaucoup faire attention de l'image qu'on renvoie au sein de la société. Le marketing et la communication personnelle est très important, aussi bien pour le CEO que pour l'entreprise. Mettre en place une image de marque n'est pas toujours évident. Et quand vous brisez votre image de marque, il est difficile que le monde change la mauvaise perception qu'elle a eue de vous sur ce moment de faiblesse. Donc, soyez jaloux de l'image que vous vendez, de l'image que vous représentez. Et faites attention de la perdre, parce que quand vous la perdez, ça devient très compliqué. Donc, comme exemple, Tony nous dit ceci. Il dit qu'il avait encouragé tout le personnel de la Standard Trust Bank de prendre soin et de tenir compte du fait que c'est une génération qu'on est en train de mettre en place. Donc, la façon de faire la banque doit marquer toute une génération. Et je pense qu'on a pris assez d'exemples pour cela. Ses performances au sein des agents qu'il a eu à gérer ont fait qu'il gagne de gros marchés, qu'il puisse aligner un certain nombre d'étudiants. Il nous a expliqué comment il faisait pour que les étudiants ouvrent les comptes bancaires sans payer des frais. À une époque où, pour ouvrir un compte bancaire, il fallait payer des frais. Donc ça, c'est par exemple une image que Tony a voulu donner à la génération, à toute une génération en termes de métier de la banque. Donc Tony pensait que les résultats devaient parler d'eux-mêmes. Et il n'a pas eu tort à ce niveau-là. C'est-à-dire que son branding, sa façon de faire, l'image qu'il renvoie, c'est une image qui est le fruit, c'est une image qui a porté des fruits, si vous voulez. C'est une image qui a porté des fruits et on voit ses œuvres à travers le monde. Donc, l'image de l'entreprise, l'image de l'individu est très importante. Et vous devez prendre soin, je le répète. Tony dit, la nature a horreur du vide. Donc, en tant que leader, vous devez marquer les hommes, vous devez marquer la nature, vous devez marquer des points. C'est important. Et Tony avait une image tellement forte qu'à un moment, on l'appelait cowboy. Vous savez tout ce que veut dire un cowboy. Donc, c'est quelqu'un de la situation, c'est quelqu'un qui sait apporter des solutions. C'est à la limite un héros. Donc, l'autre point que Tony a tenu à partager avec nous, c'est l'intelligence émotionnelle. Tony dit l'intelligence émotionnelle est la clé. L'humilité est la clé. Vous devez vous rassurer que sur le plan social, vous prenez soin de ce que les autres pensent, de l'image que vous renvoyez. Ça doit être une image qui représente la personnalité que vous êtes au sein de la société. Vous devez inspirer confiance aux gens et les gens doivent comprendre votre position. Vous devez communiquer. Et les leaders sont aussi des personnes qui écoutent. Et le leader, certaines personnes ne parlent pas seulement. Et les leaders doivent être des personnes aussi qui sont très attentifs à ce que les autres pensent. Donc, le dernier point que Tony partage avec nous, Tony nous dit une chose, le leadership est situationnel. N'oubliez jamais. Le leadership dépend de la situation. Vous devez tenir compte de tous les aléas que vous avez à chaque étape d'une organisation, du développement d'une entreprise. À chaque phase de l'évolution de l'entreprise, vous devez ajuster votre façon de manager, votre façon de gérer. Le leadership est situationnel, n'oubliez jamais. Et comme exemple, il prend toujours l'exemple de la Standard Trust Bank où il avait mis en place
I didn't give that example. I didn't give the example.
Ah, OK. OK, thank you. Donc, je pense qu'on en a fini pour aujourd'hui en partant sur le point où on retient que le leadership est situationnel. Vous devez toujours prendre des exemples. Merci beaucoup à vous pour votre écoute. Faites vos commentaires dans YouTube, partagez avec les autres. Et nous allons passer la parole à Angela. You have the floor.
You summarize the end, the constants for success?
I was out, please. If you can share it for me to summarize, please.
This is
okay,
it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Let me summarize. Okay, donc en résumé, nous avons quelques constantes dans le succès que Tony partage avec nous. Donc, il dit la gestion des hommes, l'habilité à recruter, à développer et à récompenser les personnes disciplinées, la ressource humaine. Il dit il faut pouvoir définir la direction et être focus sur le but de l'entreprise. Mettre en place des étapes importantes, les jalons d'une entreprise et les rendre mesurables au fur et à mesure qu'on avance, au fur et à mesure qu'on exécute. Il dit la discipline doit être quelque chose à faire et toutes les idées doivent être matérialisées en action. Les grands leaders sont toujours très disciplinés. Ils sont fermes et disciplinés, ne l'oubliez pas. Les grands leaders sont, sont très légers, mais bon, je n'arrive pas à décoder ça, avançons. Il dit les grands leaders sont des personnes qui ont une forte culture d'éthique et ils sont aussi très impliqués dans la conduite d'une entreprise. Ils prient pour que les choses arrivent bien, ils montrent l'exemple, ils propagent et ils protègent tout ce qu'ils ont comme culture et éthique d'entreprise. Et surtout, ils ne tolèrent pas les déviances. OK, it's okay, Ma. Over to you.
So, Ibukun,
yes, Ma.
Some comments.
Okay.
Participants, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I have a few comments, but more comments are still coming because we've messaged them to send in their comments. So Favor says, as a photographer, in my first 2 years, I had to find what successful photographers do to automate their processes and found out activities which took me days. Okay, so and found out activities which took me days could be done in hours. So this person actually did proper research, had to find out what other photographers were doing differently. So this is another comment from Alex. So Alex says, know your product and the technicalities involved versus your competitor, versus what your competitor offers. Have a value proposition and define your product uniquely from others. Train your customers on usage and follow up. So this is another comment from Linda. Knowing and studying your product is the first thing an entrepreneur should do. Because you can't teach what you don't know. So this is one of the lessons from TOE Way. Another comment here is from Blessing Abba. I learned that to succeed in sales, I should understand my products. As a result, I ask my suppliers questions based on customers' complaints while I assure customers of the best next time. So this person is constantly engaging, making inquiries, doing surveys to get feedback and ensure that the next time she's selling or sending any products to the customer, she's able to give them the best. So this is another comment from Susan. I don't have employees yet, but what I have learned from this series, I already know the best ways to keep my employees motivated and inspired to work and inspired towards work. This is another comment from Mungisha David. This TOA series was helpful, and I found important ideas like caring for people around you, wise recruitment, encouraging discipline, turning idea into reality that leads to success in business. Another comment from Wumi, create the image you want your company to project, which effectively is your brand, and do not let the world create the brand for you. If the world creates the brand for you, it might be difficult to reverse. This is another lesson from the TOA series. Sylvia says, I have learned today that being relentless is very important, is a very important business role. And it is also important to achieve the stated goals. Showing leadership is fundamental in business. This is another comment from Marcus. I have learned that branding is not all about branding products alone, but branding yourself. When I brand myself, my products are branded automatically. Thank you, Angela. This is another comment from Fako. Thank you, Mrs. Angela, for empowering me through the TOA series and through the TOA masterclasses. I have no reason not to make my business succeed and spread across Africa. So this is another comment from Alex. If you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, move together. People are a part of every decision we make. Use your leadership position fairly. Live a story of autonomy and purpose. This is another from Amos. TOA Masterclass has built a great confidence in tackling my business challenges. Though it's in the ideation stage, I have established strategic plans to help me succeed, courtesy of the TOA Masterclass. Thank you, Madam Angela. This is another one from Bawa. Master all you need to know and provide the best quality of your products or services. Start with the end in mind and build to last. So these are the comments we've gotten so far, and I'm very sure that the entrepreneurs are still sending in their comments. But
yeah, what I'd suggest is that maybe you have a session with them where they're just giving their ideas, their feedback on all this, and, maybe put it all together. I think they've given quite, nice feedback. Want to show their understanding of the concepts of the business principles, and two, able to apply it to their businesses, which is obviously very key. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Ibuku. Thank you for leading the program. Thank you, Adora, for assisting her. Thank you, Nadia and Foko, for your excellent translations and interpretations. And of course, our very dear entrepreneurs. How many did we have today? I remember the first webinar, we had 17,000. How many do we have today?
We have over 12,000 people watching live, streaming live, okay. Over 12,000.
Okay, so I remember it being 17,000 the first day. So
yeah. So a lot of people are having challenges with internet, streaming live. Yes. Yeah. So that's why we have this number.
Thank you all so much, and take care, and see you this time next year by God's grace.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Madam Angela. I would like to say on behalf of the foundation, the management, of course, our entrepreneurs and everybody here, I would like to say thank you for taking our time to take this masterclass series. We do not take it for granted, and it is well appreciated. Thank you so much. And I'm very sure the entrepreneurs are very excited. I would even love to say thank you, but yes, this platform doesn't allow for physical engagement and one-on-one engagement. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Foko, for taking out time, sacrificing your time to join us and, you know, always supporting us with translations. I know you guys are very busy, but you're very dedicated and you still take out time to support. Thank you so, so much. And thank you to our entrepreneurs. I know it's not easy streaming for 2 hours. It's a lot of data usage, but you guys have been consistent and have, you know, just shown that you're really passionate to start your entrepreneurial journey, and you're going to take the lessons from the master classes, you're going to utilize it and, you know, make good use of it. So I would like to say thank you. So sorry, before we go, I'll just run through a few things. As mentioned last week, the business plan template, it's just there in the...
Okay.
Okay, that's fine, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. Have a nice day, Ma. Bye. Thank you, Ma. Okay, so as mentioned last week, we told you that the business plan template in all languages is just right there in the YouTube. Just click on the arrow where you have show more, and you can see everything. You have access to all the templates in your preferred language. Again, I also mentioned that you do not need to request for access to this document. All you need to do is just download a copy, and you can, you know, just use that document, and you can just make changes to all the information there, and, you know, just share and develop your business plan, your compelling business plan based on all the learnings you've gotten from the business plan masterclass and the financial reporting. And if you're still having issues, we're going to have another recap session we schedule just to take you through how to, you know, develop or how to basically show a clear representation of your reporting, your financial analysis, you know, your milestones and projections. So we're going to have that recap session, and we're going to share the information with you. We'll let you know when we're going to have that recap session with Shego. Also, just to mention that the training ends on the 3rd of June. So if you haven't completed your assessment, you haven't completed your training, please, this is the right time to ensure that you go to TEF Connect, complete all your, complete reading your text, or, you know, if you want to watch your video, it's really optional, and then take your assessment. It is very important. Once we close the portal on the 3rd of June, we will not allow anyone on the portal again. So it means if you do not complete the training, automatically you will not move to the next phase of the program. So please ensure to complete all your assessments. It is very, very important. And this is why we're saying this again. So for people that, you know, have been taking their time to go through the training content and completing the assessment, this is the right time to do that. 3rd of June, we would close out, or rather, we would close the portal. So I'll just hand over to Nadia and Foko to just quickly translate all I've talked about before I just mention a few more things, and we would end the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Boko. Ok, pessoal, algumas informações para vocês. A primeira é sobre o business plan template, ou seja, o modelo de plano de negócios. Está ali, mesmo aqui no chat do ali trabalhar nele. Façam, preparem o vosso, comecem a preparar o vosso resumo do plano de negócios da forma mais apelativa que vocês possam, ok? Possam fazer para que realmente vos valha pontos. De todos os ensinamentos que vocês tiveram durante essas semanas de treinamento, apliquem-no para terem um resumo de plano de negócio bem apelativo. A outra coisa é sobre a data para que o portal vai fechar para as tarefas. Quem ainda não fez, dia 3 de junho é a data limite. Portanto, vocês têm até dia 3 de junho para enviarem todas as tarefas. Estão a ler, estão a assistir vídeos, o que estão a fazer, despachem-se porque o tempo está. E lembrem-se, por experiência, eu sei que nos últimos dias há sempre um monte de problema para fazer carregamento, o envio, ou para fazer os testes. Portanto, tentem fazer as coisas a tempo. Não percam tempo, não deixem as coisas para a última hora. Porque quando dia 3 o sistema fechar, não adianta mandar e-mail para ter pedirem, porque vocês não terão mais oportunidade. Por isso, aproveitem o tempo e trabalhem. Ok?
Ok, thank you, Nadia. Donc, nous partageons maintenant quelques informations utiles pour la suite du programme. Donc, il vous nous rappelle par exemple qu'on vous avait indiqué que le résumé, le business plan, le canevas, le modèle de business plan était accessible sur le lien YouTube. De toute façon, c'est en circulation dans les différents groupes. Donc, vous avez déjà accès au modèle du résumé du business plan. Donc, elle nous dit aussi qu'il y aura une session qu'on va organiser pour revenir sur comment vous devez remplir le modèle de business plan, sur les calculs financiers et tout ça. Donc, ne vous inquiétez pas, il y aura une session et tout le monde y sera convié. Vous allez recevoir les mails d'invitation pour pouvoir assister à cette session. Maintenant, il est important de savoir que le programme de formation, la série de formation, la phase 1, va se clôturer en début juin. Ça va se clôturer en début juin et on vous exhorte tous à finir vos 9 modules de formation. Vous devez les finir parce que ceux qui n'auront pas fini seront automatiquement éliminés du programme après cette date-là. C'est en début juin. Ceux qui n'auront pas fini seront automatiquement éliminés. Maintenant, ceux qui auront fini pourront continuer le programme. Donc, et après cette date, la plateforme ne sera plus accessible. Vous n'aurez plus accès aux vidéos et aux PDF de formation. Donc, vous prie tous de finir vos formations et d'échanger comme d'habitude dans les groupes. La plateforme, vous n'aurez plus accès à ces cours pour pouvoir les suivre après début juin. Je crois le 3 ou le 4 juin, pour ceux qui ont bien suivi. Donc, voilà un peu ce qu'on peut échanger avec vous dans un premier temps. On va continuer avec les autres informations. Et beaucoup nous de floor.
Thank you very much for supporting with that translation. So the next thing is please attendance. We have dropped the attendance link. It's also in the description on YouTube. Kindly click on the link and fill in your details. And we will close out on that attendance by 6 p.m. So please ensure to click on the link and fill your attendance. I think we've covered basically everything. And I'm not sure there are any complaints. I think everybody is able to take their training successfully. Nobody's having any challenges on TF Connect. Or are we having any challenges? Maybe I need to have like an interactive session. So if you're having any challenges taking your training, or if there's any complaints, you can just drop it in the comment and we'll just randomly pick and provide answers to it. So I'll just give a minute for people to drop their comments, or if you have anything you want to share or questions, kindly drop in the comment section and I would randomly select and respond to.
The module 13, I think that's the general training.
So another thing is for the customized training, we don't have any module called module 13. So there are 2 trainings you will see. You will see the general training, which is a training program that everybody on TF Connect has access to. Everybody, any user has access to. And then the next one is the customized training. Only people shortlisted to take the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program training would have access to that particular program. So please do not make the mistake of taking the general training. And then on the 3rd of June, you now tell me, oh, it was the general training I was taking. There are 2 trainings, the general one and then the actual training, which is the customized training for the 2022 flagship TEF flagship program. So please ensure that you're taking the right training. Please, very important. Adora, do we have any comments from YouTube or questions? Okay, so I will take questions and we're taking questions randomly. I apologize, we can't answer all the questions, but I'll just take you randomly. So someone said, I'm done with the 9 modules, but the 13 training doesn't exceed the 12. So I mentioned this earlier, you are most likely taking the general training. So kindly, please start the customized training. There are 2 trainings. You're taking the wrong training, so you need to you need to pick or select the customized training. Very important. And then somebody said, what is my category? So there is no category this year. Last year, we had different categorizations for training, for the training program. Sorry, excuse me. This year, there is no categorization. Everybody is taking the same training program. So there is no categorization. So please disregard that. And if there was a categorization, we will let you know. So somebody said, are we supposed to submit the business plan on the 3rd? No, you're not submitting the business plan document on the 3rd. We will communicate and let you know when you would submit your business plan document. So that information will be shared with you. So you're not submitting on the 3rd. I don't think we have any more questions. Adora, do we have any more questions?
Yes,
so what is the cutoff? So we cannot tell you what the cutoff is, and that's the truth. So we have our performance matrix, and that is what we're going to use. It's a set of criteria. So we're not considering only performance score. We're considering other things. So there's what we call partner requirements. We have something we call regional breakdown. So basically, we need to ensure that we shortlist people from across 54 African countries. The program is a Pan-African program, so we will not be selecting from just a particular country. We will select across. So all of these criteria will come into play at the point of selection or shortlisting to the next phase. So we will not be considering performance alone. We'll also consider gender balance. So we will not be selecting more men than women. Most likely we're selecting men and women on the same percentage. So, or even selecting more women based on partner requirements. So these are all the criteria we'll be using. So it's not focused on performance alone. So, which is why we will not be sharing the cutoff with you, because it is not based on performance alone. It's based on other metrics, which I have shared. So I think I've been able to answer all the questions. Nadia and Foko, kindly just translate that briefly, and we would end the session. Thank you.
Ok, thank you, Ibokon. Ok, algumas questões que surgiram dos vossos colegas nos comentários. Uma delas, alguém falava que já acabou os 9 módulos, não encontra o módulo 13. Não existe módulo 13, ok? Nem módulo 12. Okay. Basicamente, deve ser uma confusão da pessoa que fez a questão. A outra questão que foi colocada era alguém queria saber se o plano de negócios é para ser enviado até ao dia 3. Não, dia 3 é para o teste, para vocês lerem os módulos e responderem às questões dos módulos. O plano de negócios, posteriormente, vão indicar a data para envio. Ok? Outra questão era sobre categoria. Alguém estava perguntando qual é a sua categoria, que não consegue identificar a sua categoria. Ok. Nos anos passados, as pessoas foram separadas em categoria. Este ano não acontece isso. Este ano todos estão a fazer o mesmo treinamento, todos estão a fazer o mesmo treino, portanto não há categoria. Depois alguém me perguntou sobre qual é o critério de seleção, ou qual é a forma como vão selecionar em termos de percentagem, quantos se é por gênero, quantos por cada gênero e país e por aí. Isso ainda é informação interna, não é para ser divulgado, ok? Portanto, ainda não é para ser aqui, não é para ser do vosso conhecimento. É basicamente isso, foram essas as questões que surgiram dos vossos colegas no chat. Obrigado a todos, boa sorte. Com licença. Foko, over to you.
OK, thank you, Nadia. Donc, pour finir, nous allons vous communiquer quelques informations importantes, comme par exemple le fait que la liste de présence est déjà dans la zone de description sur YouTube. Essayez de cliquer dessus et de renseigner. Elle sera ouverte jusqu'à 18h. Donc, s'il vous plaît, veuillez remplir la liste de présence jusqu'à 18h. Après ça, ça ne sera plus disponible. Donc, et beaucoup nous annoncent que pour cette année, il n'y a plus de catégories. On ne sait pas d'où les gens sortent avec les catégories. il y a plus de catégories pour la session 2022 de cette formation en gestion d'affaires de la TONI, de la Fondation TONI elle-même. Donc, on signale aussi que tous ceux qui disent qu'ils ont 13 modules, pour cette année, il n'y a pas 13 modules. Les 13 modules que vous voyez, c'est la formation générale dont tout le monde a accès dès lors qu'on se retrouve dans TIEF Connect. Donc, ce n'est pas cette formation que nous expliquons actuellement. Ce dont nous parlons maintenant, c'est la formation personnalisée. Et n'a accès à la formation personnalisée que les personnes qui ont été présélectionnées pour participer à ce programme en 2022. Donc, on rappelle bien, il y a deux formations. La formation générale, accessible à tout le monde de TIEF Connect, et la session personnalisée qui n'est accessible qu'à tous ceux qui ont été présélectionnés, tous ceux qui ont candidaté avec succès, qui ont postulé avec succès pour la session 2022. Dans le délai du 3 juin, le business plan n'est pas concerné par le délai du 3 juin. On vous a dit la plateforme pour les formations va fermer le 3 juin. Le délai pour soumettre le business plan, ce n'est pas le 3 juin. Donc, souvenez-vous de ça. Le délai pour soumettre le business plan, ce n'est pas le 3 juin. On reviendra dessus plus tard. Les critères maintenant pour vous sélectionner, il y a bien évidemment l'algorithme de performance que vous connaissez. On vous a toujours parlé de performance. Soyez engagés, participez aux formations en direct, remplissez la liste de présence. Mais il n'y aura pas que ça qui va permettre de sélectionner ceux qui vont continuer l'aventure. On tiendra compte aussi des différents critères des partenaires. On tiendra compte aussi des critères régionaux et des critères de genre. N'oubliez pas que ce programme est suivi dans tous les 54 pays d'Afrique. Donc, les différents critères vont permettre de pouvoir voir qui sont ceux qui vont bénéficier et surtout ceux qui vont continuer à suivre le programme. Donc là, on en a terminé. On vous remercie une fois de plus d'avoir pu supporter pendant exactement 2 heures de temps. Donc, merci et à la prochaine. Over to you, Ibukun.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Foko. Thank you, Nadia. So we have come to the end of this session. So this is the end of the TOE Way Masterclass series, and I hope you guys have learned a lot. And I'm very confident that you guys would, take all these lessons and, utilize and use it for your business growth. So we will be having another session on Thursday, and this will be a masterclass series on learning the craft of elevator pitch. So basically, understanding the techniques and what is required to be able to pitch seamlessly and effectively in front of prospective investors. So we'll be having that masterclass on Thursday, and it will be led by Choma, one of our TF alumni. So more information on that will be shared with you via email. Thank you once again for joining, and I'm so sorry we had to spend 2 hours today. I will see you next time. I will see you on Thursday by the grace of God. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.